Hello, wonderful. This is Sarah, and I'm here with Dr. Mobi, who is the author of Keep It Simple Diet, Sleep, and Exercise. And I love that because you guys know that I want to keep relationships simple and I want to keep the language around relationships simple. And you want to keep our health simple, right?
Yep, and that is so such a nice topic when we discuss about relationships. If you recall, by the way, I should have introduced. I'm Dr. Mobi, and I do sleep medicine as well as lifestyle, and I love talking about lifestyle, as you can see from my book. So I love to actually go over that with anyone who is interested in learning about lifestyle.
Mhm. Awesome. I have a lot of ladies who have sleep issues.
Mm.
We may tackle that first.
Let's
Um,
do that. Yeah.
yeah. Why do you see people with sleep issues, and what can they do about it?
Okay. And first, I always tell it's very important to understand the basics about sleep in men and women. So there are changes happening throughout our life. So when we are toddlers or when we are kids, we have a lot of deep sleep, which is stage 3, and we get that a lot. But as we age, we tend to lose it, which is a normal change in the brain. Okay. So it is nothing to do with with certain disease, or we can, but usually everybody progresses that. And then there is a change between men and women. Now men tends to actually lose all their deep sleep, so they would lose most of their deep sleep and they remain in superficial sleep, which by definition, I'll just for audience sake, I'll explain that. So basically, sleep is divided into REM, which is rapid eye movement, which is like about same thing like we are awake, and except that we cannot move. So you can watch your dream and you can act on or react, but you cannot run away from bed. Should not normally. So same thing happens in non-REM. There could be there are not eye movements, but the body is slowing down. The neurons are slowing down, and basic concept of sleep, in my opinion, is of course your body needs to rejuvenate for next day. Important function, and if somebody calls our name, we do get up, right? And so there's a defense mechanism. So it's not possible for brain and heart to stop completely while we sleep, because everything should be in standby mode, and as well as they need to get ready for next day. Lot of work for body, right? So, and then imagine this is such a beautiful thing body is doing for you. So you are ready emotionally tomorrow, you're ready physically tomorrow. And so, of course, if you get enough sleep, so amount of sleep and those two are important things. So we were talking about REM and non-REM. So non-REM has a couple of stages. The body slows down in stages. So one of the mechanism body has is going to continue pump the blood and do functions, essential vital functions, but also at the same time, heart rate is going to slow down. Okay, and then your blood pressure is going to remain lower. Okay, because the body wants to rest a little bit. Okay. So, and the same thing, the brain is not firing. Right now, our neurons are firing because it's getting a lot of input from a lot of senses and is reacting or acting. So, but the yeah.
Stop right there. So, isn't that the reason? That's the way I understood it was important not to fall asleep with the television or something on, because then our brain is still getting inputs, and so it doesn't ever have time to truly sort through things. Is that
That
true?
is true. That is true. So that is so true. If you have, and I will talk a little bit on that too. So basic function of, we were talking a little bit about a sex difference. So men actually lose their stage 3, which is a non-REM or non-rapid eye movement sleep. Women don't lose that. Okay, so they preserve a lot of their deep sleep even when they are very old, which is great thing. But on the other hand, the difference is they tend to wake up more. So
Yeah.
if at the end, if you give a man 5 hours or 6 hours sleep and women same time, so they tend to, men don't wake up. So they will have worse sleep apnea or could have worse problem. They never wake up. and usually wives bring me their them and saying, he's snoring a lot, or he's like, oh no, I'm not. I mean, they could have worse sleep apnea, and they don't tend to wake up. I don't know, if men do wake up, then there's a big problem, because a lot of things could be stressing them, and I will talk a little bit on that too. So for women, naturally they will have a little more arousal. Personally, I think it is a defense mechanism. If you
Yeah.
look at, the biologically evolution wise, mothers tend to be protective
Yeah.
of the species. So they will protect their siblings, and they will look for. So if men won't do that, okay. So that's, in my opinion, that's the biological. It's
That's
nothing wrong with.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
if you look from that aspect, so I always wondered why is that, but then I said, oh, very simple. Women tend to be protective, and they
Yeah.
will look after you. So which is great. So same talking. So they tend to. But the question is, if we understand the changes in our body, then some changes are normal, some changes are not that normal, because if you feel tired or exhausted next day, then probably whatever you're doing has to be modified. So first thing is get plenty of sleep, which is when, and we talk about a little bit about TV now, or computer, or anything. So remember, light is the biggest enemy the modern world has. Um, Light on inappropriate times. So which means that if you have the light in the evening or night, bright lights in your room and TV and stand, same thing, then or iPhone or smartphone, then it's going to stimulate your brain. Okay. And
Mhm.
then, or not only stimulate the brain, there's a melatonin, there's a hormone in the brain which is being secreted as we speak, every day, every time. And the level varies by the amount of the light, especially the blue spectrum, which hits our eyes. So it kind of builds up throughout. It remains low because we have a lot of light and activity, but it builds up in darkness or less light. So it tells our brain, basically, it realigns it pretty much. So our brain will function without melatonin too, in terms of, but it needs to it will function with melatonin, but it needs realignment every day. So every day our brain clock needs 15 minutes or 20-minute adjustment, to tell the brain this is day starting and this is evening or nighttime starting. So if we are in a spaceship, our body will function perfectly fine, but it has to realign to. So people who are on North Pole, if you see they are in bright, all they have to have a darkness period to tell the brain this is day and night. So that's how the brain works. Every organism has a clock. Every cell has a clock. Every part of our body has a clock. It's so organized, and it communicates. It's very fascinating how it communicates with the central clock, and it kind of realigns everything to each other. So these are important concepts. And then once we have those realigned, then these are the ones which makes a difference between how the body functions. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So what happens to our sleep on stress?
Okay.
Uh,
That is so the stress response, if you look at, is fight or flight response. Okay.
right.
So I always give example. It is like brain has different parts: sleep part, and executive function, concentration, creativity, language, and name it, motor and fight mode, and all kind of modes are there. So it's like a computer. If, for simple example, if you look at a computer, sometimes you see the computer is working fine, but sometimes it makes loud noise, and it is where it is going to draw a lot of power from hard drive, and is going to make this noise that is going, it needs a lot of energy. Same thing happens with the brain. When we are stressed, it goes into
Yeah.
this mode where it kind of there's a cycle which is going to just respond very quickly, to threats, unknown threats. Okay. So our body adrenaline goes up, blood pressure goes up, heart rate goes up, and neurons are firing on all cylinders. It consumes a lot of energy. So it in the brain as well as heart, everything, it just kind of consume a lot of power, because it's going to give the best response. Not might not be appropriate response sometimes, so you have to think that there is less thinking in it, but it's more defense. Okay, so that's
Mhm.
why when you have the stresses in life, and we have stressful situation, and we carry those stresses without relaxation, then guess what will happen? The neurons keep firing and they get tired. Okay, so they need this relaxation where they kind of get reconvene or rejuvenate or get these neurotransmitter depletion completed. But that's not going to happen if we are into that mode, so that's why insomnia or those stressful type A personalities tend to do worse, biologically, because the blood pressure remains high. They could have more heart attacks, they could have sleep disturbance. So it's very important to understand our body.
Yeah, I love that. So, what are your favorite tips for getting better sleep? Obviously, watching that blue light, especially before bedtime. What are some other things?
Some other things we can do to relax or to improve the sleep.
Yes. Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So
Either
both, so both are important. First is, I always say, align your body natural rhythms to outside. So you have a natural rhythm, so you want to run the same rhythm or get the positive energy. There's a positive energy outside. If we go outside every day, look at the blue sky, guess what will happen? It resets the brain. Okay, all that good things will start happening. And remember, all good hormones, growth hormone, cortisol, all those important hormones in the body, they are secreted at a particular time. Okay,
Mhm.
in the body, it is a clock. It's very well organized. Amazing, amazing. Nobody can copy or make that kind of, if anything goes wrong, you can well imagine, how people can have all kind of supercomputers, but no one can mimic that. Okay, that is
Yeah.
how powerful it is. So those, but easy route is just let your body realign to the positive energy outside. So I tell everybody, look at the birds and animals. They're not on medications. They wake up early and then they go out and eat on time, and in the evening or night eat less or no eating, and then you need to kind of mimic that. So let your body experience that positive energy,
Mhm.
and then sleep will improve, stress will be less, right? And you can we cannot eliminate stresses completely from our lives, because we all have, you have, and I have, everyone has. But the way to handle it, our body to process it, efficiency improves tremendously once we are able to handle, right?
Well, and that's why when you said, better sleep or relax, which one? And I was like, I think you need both, right? Because
Yeah,
a more relaxed day creates a more restful sleep, right?
that is so true. And then I say best is, what I personally do too, is every hour or two, just take a little break. Okay. So and it's been happening a lot actually. We are working from home. That
Yes.
we sit on chairs for countless hours, and we don't realize that. And first few days, I thought, I say, oh, maybe I didn't do much, but I said, oh my God, I'm so tired,
Right.
because I think same thing happens, is that we don't realize that, but I need to have a fixed break every half hour, 1 hour, just walk 5 minutes, go outside, just take a little bit, just relax. And throughout day, do not wait for particular time. I mean, it's good if you have a time, to dedicate that, but personally, that's how I think works really well.
Yeah, I agree. And that's when I did high performance coaching. That was one of the things they talked about is, we think, okay, I'll just go harder and get more done, but we don't actually get more done. And at the end of the day, if there's something important, we're tired by that time.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, exactly, and that is we are so our body tends to perform better, and then same thing for sleep is, if we improve sleep, that is a big. It's one third of our life, and then remember, one third has to get two third correct. So which is, if you look at the number, so 6 to 8 hours sleep, out of 24 hours. So then imagine this is a miracle, how we body functions, or anybody, So there are the periods, and every organism has that, some degree, with the more complex, of course, animals. Now birds can do that. They sleep, some birds can sleep with one side of the brain completely sleep and the other awake because they're flying, so they cannot just stop that, but men cannot do that, or women cannot do that, because our two sides need rest.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, what would you say to the person who was always skipping on sleep and they thought, okay, I've got a lot to do. I'm not going to worry about trying to get sleep. What advice would you have for them?
Okay, first is, I say, try to there is no shortcut. I mean, only thing I can tell you is they have done experiments on prisoners, which they put them on, I don't know where they did it, but they kind of reduced their amount of sleep, and they have seen they died actually. So it is related to actually poor performance. Not only that, but also increased cardiovascular complication, heart attacks, and so forth. Because
Memory loss too, as
memory
well?
loss too, remember the memory loss. Now the memory is very important, is very dependent on oxygen. Okay, so
Oh,
the part of the brain which has two sides, which is a recent recall, quick recall, as well as the old memories. Now it is very sensitive to oxygen, so which means that if you have low oxygen, then you can actually have problem. Now sleep apnea is particularly important on that. So if we gain weight and we have airway problem, oxygen going less to the brain, it will cause memory loss. It will cause. Now it's very interesting also that since you brought in memory, people who have some degree of sleepiness, let's say they go in micro sleeps, we call them micro sleeps. They could be sleeping while talking or while doing things. 5 second, 2 second, 3 second, the memory wipes out. So,
wow.
they are talking and they go on stage one sleep, and then they lose what they were talking 5 minutes ago. So that's how sleep is important. Okay, so and we have patients who have, especially if they have problems with sleep apnea or narcolepsy, or those, they will be talking to you and they don't know. I had a patient, it's very interesting. I had a patient had traumatic brain injury, and he used to drive 2 hours from one end to other, and he would not recall anything at all that driving. I said, "Oh my God, thank God you didn't kill anyone." So,
I know. That's really scary. I guess the podcast people couldn't see my face, and I was just like, oh,
no, that is scary. So there are people out there on the road which are sleep deprived, and they're sleeping, or they are sleepy, and then they don't remember anything, whatever
yeah.
happened. So can they hurt you and kill someone? Of course. And would they remember? Not really. So, and that's sad, very, very sad when we have this. So, that's why I think for commercial drivers, they made it mandatory that if they have risk factor, which is for education purpose. So if you are overweight, BMI over 25, neck size men over 17, you and you have snoring, stop breathing, those problem, you better be checked. Okay, this is not only your life, it's somebody else's life also. Remember, when you're on road, you are sharing with a lot of people. And if you recall, I think there was a celebrity also who had in New Jersey, I think, accident, and had a really poor outcome after that. And then so they can charge you for doing that with the manslaughter, or
Absolutely.
criminal charges. So those are very careful. You have to be very careful And micro sleeps are very dangerous. So if you are not sleeping, and you think you can get away, not really. And I have patients too who take high performance, high caffeine and all that to remain less deprived, or to be sleep deprived, and to they think they can get away with that. That's not possible. I mean, you can, but if you keep doing it, you're going to burn your heart, have heart attack, uh, rhythm problem of the heart. Anything will go wrong, because and complications do happen, unfortunately. So with those drugs, caffeine especially, as well as stimulants.
Yeah. So I can't ask you about sleep without asking you about dreams. So, what stage of sleep do we dream in, and do you have any comments on what our dreams mean?
Okay, and that is also very fascinating. A lot of sleep, a lot of people have fascination with dreams, and we all have. So everybody dreams every day, but we only remember 10 or 20% of our dreams. Now, as we talk about, there are two parts of dreams. One are the rapid eye movement, where the eyes are moving, and we are having all the kind of complex dreams, emotions, and things like that. And the other is simple dreams, very simple, and most we won't remember. So we are, soon as we hit sleep, we start dreaming. So it could be very small, simple ones, and then they become more emotional and so forth. The dream portion is very fascinating, that this is not the time where body rests. Okay, so so that is, that's about 1/3 our sleep. So during night, 1/3 we spend in complex dreams. Now, this is very fascinating. That's not the time where your body will rest. Now, there was an ad used to be on TV, which was so wrong. We used to say, the best time to relax is your dream. And I said, I'm going to write them a note and say, please fill that out. That's wrong. Okay, now imagine what happens when the eyes are moving and you're running after someone, or you're doing things. Your blood pressure goes up, heart rate goes, same thing happens in dream portion. So everything happens. Now, it's very fascinating that our body has this mechanism of, as soon as you hit sleep, in 1 or 2 hours, actually 120 minutes, the first dream portion starts. Okay, and then it keeps on repeating after a certain time, and more you sleep, the longer the dream portion becomes. Okay, and
Mhm.
that is a lot of fascination about that. That now, people who have heart problem, who have some kind of problem, as you can imagine, the first phase where the body slows down and everything nice and great, as soon as it pumps this dream portion about 2 hours into sleep, suddenly your blood pressure goes up, heart rate goes faster. People who have heart disease, they tend to do worse, and they can die. So
Yeah.
people who have sudden cardiac death, we call that, that happens about 2-3 o'clock early morning. Okay, and that's about the time where your dream starts, and that's so crucial. Imagine the body switching, slowing down, and just trying to restart again.
Yeah.
And then that's where the problem starts. So it is fascinating, yes, but for body, it is not relaxation. Okay, why the dream happens? It is because their emotional memory. So we all have emotional memory, and the body tries to recover out of that, or cover that emotional memory. And the emotional memory, so people who have a trauma, post-traumatic stress disorder, they could have nightmares, very intense dreaming, and those are, your body is trying to recover that. I think I give always example of those CD players or those track players. If you remember, that track keeps rotating. So if the track is faulty, or if there's a problem, you will see that it keeps on rotating, and just so the nightmares are like that. PTSD is like that. The track in the brain keeps repeating and repeating until one way is to actually to have the counselor work with the dreams, and we call them, and then they kind of change the outcome of the dream, and then they try to retrain the brain, and that is great therapy. Okay, so but you have to have a professional work that.
Right.
So bottom line is, you need a dream. Yes, portion, we need dream, but if too much dreaming is bad too, because then your body is not resting. Okay, that's it. Remember the old saying, early to bed, early to rise makes you healthy, wealthy, and wise. And
Yes.
that's probably true, because if you look at the sleep, so you want to sleep, yes, 2 hours first dream, then if you keep sleeping throughout day, let's say people wake up very late, they sleep 8, 9 hours. Guess what will happen? Then lot of dreaming. Is your body resting? Not really, you know. But can you have complications? Yes, So that's why it's not healthy to have, a lot of that REM portion. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm feeling good about my early bedtimes and early rising because I naturally do that. So I'm feeling pretty good about this conversation, Dr. Moby.
Yeah, yes. No, I think that is a lot of things, I think with time I realized that all great sayings about things, they were
Yeah.
right. Those people knew exactly, I mean, they didn't have all that scientific knowledge, but they were right on target. I mean, there was nothing wrong with them, with their thinking on it. So same thing, you don't want to be playing with games outside. So I think people go wrong is they want to party over weekend, and Monday they want to look great when that's not possible. Okay.
Yeah.
So that we call social jet lagging. So don't do that. Okay. So it's like you don't want to put your body through shocks. You want to be gentle to your body, and your body will be responding very positively. So that's my advice to everyone is, do not vary your sleep schedule by more than an hour at max, if you want to really do weekend. I mean, that's what I do. But maintain a rhythm. You need to get up on time. You cannot have every day different. So this is wrong. You need to have a discipline, at least to waking up. So then rest of your body rhythm will be fine. Just pick up time. If you're early bird, pick that time what is close to you biologically. And then if you're a late person, then pick a time which is close to it. Either way, you have to have some kind of discipline.
Yeah. I love it. Well, tell people, I know I was on your lifestyle TV.
Yeah.
Tell people where they can find more about you, find your book, and find you in the world.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for having me. It's always fun and to talk. And I know, thank you. You came to our show. It was fun. I mean, I had great time. I think really enjoyed a conversation. And thank you for having me. But they can check me on lifestyletvchannel.com. And my book is Keep It Simple, Diet, Sleep, and Exercise on Amazon. And it's printed in 3 languages, Spanish, Arabic, and of course, English. And also, if you, my TV channel is Lifestyle TV USA. It's also on YouTube. I have songs. I have 500 shows. We have a lot of things for everybody to learn.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming and then connecting again. And thank you for helping us on our journey to becoming toxic person proof.
Okay, yes, great. And thank you for putting for the women sleep. I think that is, I always find it basic, education is so important. We need to help. And then that's a separate topic about, the changes with hormones. And we can have hours of talk on that.
Yeah, we'll have another talk then. Yes, no, I love it. And I love keep it simple because as you know, I try to keep relationships simple and thought simple. And like, it's so simple. Like we need sleep to function well, but so many of us are struggling with it. So great conversation. Thank you.
Hey, same here. Thank you. Take care. Take care. Thank you.